Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining today's Tips and Tricks webinar. Today's topic is on the benefits of third-party integrations with Horizon MDR. Please use the Q&A chat if you have any questions during the webinar. We'll make sure we answer those. Our presenter today, we actually have two. We have security engineer Corey Pellegrin and security architect Tyler Roser. Guys, what do you have for us today?
Hey, thanks, Rob. Yeah, as mentioned, my name is Corey Pellegrin. I'm a security engineer for Check Point based out of Providence, Rhode Island. So what I want to do is I want to touch on MDR and what MDR is, and then we'll pass it over to Tyler for the actual integrations with our third party. So what is MDR? MDR stands for Managed Detection and Response, where an organization outsources some of its security operations to a third-party provider, or what is known as SOC as a service. And as the name suggests, it goes beyond simply detecting threats to actually working to remediate them in an organization's network. And just like everything we do at Check Point, Horizon MDR is a prevention first service, which is a stem from our industry leading incident response team. If I don't want to say if you've had the benefit of working with our incident response team, because it's more along the lines of if you worked with them, something has gone wrong. But our incident response team is so great that we want to mention them and make sure that they get shouted out. So this product stemming from our IR team makes it best in class. Horizon MDR can be both an EDR and a full MDR that runs 24/7, 365. It's API-based, which allows for great third-party integrations. So it's not just for Check Point security verticals. And your whole cybersecurity suite is monitored for events. And when a potential incident is detected, it's investigated by a team of experts as well as our AI technologies through our threat cloud. And it's not only to respond to, but actually gives remediations that protects from other attacks in the future. So with that, we get introductions on where this can work, right? We're tying everything from our network, cloud, email, mobile, IoT devices, and endpoints all together to have a true SOC as a service offering. So now that you know what MDR is, I'm going to pass it over to Tyler, who's going to walk through our integrations with our third parties and how you could actually get the most out of Horizon MDR. So Tyler.
Awesome. Thanks, Corey. Thanks, everyone, for joining. So as Corey mentioned, kind of the biggest thing about, SOC as a service, is significantly shortening that operational gap for looking at all of your alerts and having that alert fatigue and giving you the things to focus on, as well as being able to prevent those threats within your environment. And with this, you're significantly lowering your cost of TCO for your different security products because you have that single view to correlate events across your entire architecture. And that includes automated reactions across your endpoint, network, and email. And one of the important things with the MDR service is that because this is coming from an IR team, as Corey mentioned, we have the experience of working with detailed and complex environments that are checkpoint and non-checkpoint and be able to provide recommended security measures and best practices. With that gives you ongoing threat intelligence and making sure that your infrastructure is as secure as possible. So we're going to jump right down into the portal itself. Now, what I'm actually going to start with, so this is the overview that you would see when you initially log in. What I'm actually going to start with is the profile within the system. Here, you're going to identify the people within your organization that have access to the portal. You can define your different networks that you have within your organization, and if there are any potential hosts that you actually want excluded from your environment. Now, if we look here, we can see these are all of the currently available integrations. I'm going to touch upon a couple of them because there's some important facts, particularly on this Windows Defender. So what I want to say is as long as your organization participates within E5, G5, or A5 licensing, last year, Microsoft updated their API, which actually gave us a tremendous amount of additional visibility without needing to modify anything on our ends into different applications through the Azure infrastructure. So that includes not only Defender, but that means O365, identity, cloud apps, vulnerability management, DLP, Eventra ID, the new Azure AD, as well as app governance. So we can we can absolutely tie into multiple facets within your Microsoft environment. Now, there is a lot of flexibility within the MDR service. So not only can we be your full-time SOC as a service, we can also augment your existing SOC And we can cater that to business operations. If your organization would like to handle alerts from an 8 to 5 business operations hours and just be informed when something needs to be triaged or that we've taken care of something, we can do that. And then after hours and weekends, we can automatically take care of all of those for you. Now, one of the things I'll note is that in some of these endpoint configurations, we have this option to configure. From here, this is where we have some additional flexibility, as I talked about with business operations. If we're in the example of endpoint, if we deem based on logs and information that an endpoint is compromised and needs to be isolated, we can simply let you know and you will take care of it during business operations. We can send you a request to have us isolate this device for you, and then we'll give you recommendation options for cleaning that device, removing off the network, and then letting us know when that's taken care of. Or there's also what I like to think of as the white glove treatment. You always approve. We send you an alert. Hey, we isolated this device based on X, Y, and Z. We'll show you the logs, and I'll go through a case and kind of show you what that looks like. And we let you know, here's what you need to do afterwards. Now, one of the really nice things when you sign up for Infinity MDR is that you actually get a collection of hours, and it's different based on if you do just EDR or full MDR, that gets backing of our incident response team. So if in the case that you are maybe not comfortable or unsure of how to remediate an issue, you can directly tell the MDR team, I need some assistance, and they'll move you right over to the incident response team to help remediate whatever that problem is. Each one of these integrations, point and click, they take a couple minutes within each one, but within a few hours, you are automatically integrated into the MDR platform, and our team of analysts and technologies in the back end are going to review your different logs and be able to give you alerts based on those. At the end of this presentation, I will give a slight roadmap as to what our tentative list of future integrations are moving forward. I say tentative because it's a fairly fluid, but this is at least kind of what our plan is for the next couple months of integrations that we're going to be adding. So I'm going to jump back over now to the overview screen. So we can see here, we have in the last 30 days, this is customizable, but we've received 36 different alerts. And of these 36 alerts, we've been able to consolidate this down to 16 different cases. So easing your use of troubleshooting through multiple different platforms. And we can see, if there was an email that came in with a phishing link in it that was clicked on, and that went that email then went out to a known CNC site, there may be a gateway log as well as an email log that we're going to consolidate together into a single case. A couple things to note on this page is that incidents, these are actually reports of confirmed compromised devices that need to be looked into. An investigation, important cases, this is the process of we're confirming whether or not what we believe are compromises are false positives or true compromises. Additionally, here we can see a breakdown of products, alerts by product, as well as what actions were taken by those different products, and the timeline over the severity of cases over the last 7 days. Additionally, here that I'll bring your attention to is these action items. So notifications, as new products are added to the portal and integrations become available, you'll be notified here as well as through emails. Recommendations, I'm going to dive more into this when we actually look at a case, but based on what we're seeing in a particular incident, we may make security recommendations that could have stopped an attack sooner or could have been prevented entirely based on the information and the logs that we have. Requests, so nobody knows your infrastructure better than you. If, for example, I was working with a customer the other day who had an issue where they were seeing, looked like their NetScaler was getting attacked. Now, NetScaler is not currently an application that we support. However, as part of the service, they requested upon the MDR team, can you take a look at some of our information from the different telemetry that you have of integrations and see if there's anything that you can pull from this? If not, we can work with, incident response team to see what else we may be able to delve into. Pending approvals. So as I mentioned, there's a couple different ways that you can interact with the MDR team. One of the pieces is that if there are anything that is being requested of you, whether we want you to approve us of isolating a host or not, as an example, this is where you can see those here. Now we're going to jump down to the cases. So For each case, what we're going to see here, and I noted before, important versus incident investigation. So important is we're looking to corroborate the information that's been provided and see if this is a true compromise or a false positive. If we look in this, so a nice breakdown is what is the attack, who did it happen to, when did it happen, so we can see the hosts that were identified as part of this, any indicators that were provided within the logs, so domains, URLs, or the threat signatures. Additional to that, if you're doing, or as part of your own RCAs and your own backend, you may want to be able to see what these raw logs are that were generated. You can see here, this came from a checkpoint management server, and you can see the actual raw logs and can pull these out yourself if you need these for your own internal investigations. Additional to that, you can interact directly with the MDR team through the case itself, as well as email. We also provide the ability, if you want to interact with us over Teams or Slack, you can do that as well. If there's any additional files or information that we may request upon you or that we may provide to you to maybe assist with a collection of information, it can be done through this screen as well. Additionally, any recommendations. So I mentioned before, if there's recommendations based on what we're seeing. Here's a few good examples of things that have been recommended based on certain cases. So in this case, in the event that there was a ransomware event, or in this case of this IPS event, this could have prevented earlier in the kill chain. And what we should do is review the endpoint policy to see where we could actually have considered re-enabling different protections or moving some different things around. Additionally, in this example here, the WordPress domain, the admin directory was directly exposed to the internet. Obviously not a good thing. So we're recommending, let's take care of this and let us know when this is done. In any of these cases, if something is taken care of, you can always reopen them, reach back out to the MDR team to investigate. From here as well, one of the things that I do want to dive into is the reports that can give you. So this is going to be a great way to show TCO for what the integrations that you have within your environment. So if we look at this, this is basic telemetry. We're going to look at just this week. And we can see here, the amount of records that we've already ingested, the reports that we've been analyzed for suspicious behaviors, how many active investigations we have, and how many incidents we have. So you can get a full picture of what the MDR team is doing for you, as well as what the different alerts are that are coming in. And we can do that as well as a monthly report to get full total cost of ownership and understanding of what the alerts types are by different products, as well as a distribution by cases and why their cases were actually closed. And you can see here, there's a multitude of reasons, whether it was automatically remediated, it was blocked, the system actually blocked the activity, tuning, so as new products are integrated, there is a small tuning period just to make sure that we are covering the integration correctly and it's reporting correctly in your environment and we're understanding it as it's supposed to. So with that now, I'm actually going to talk about some of the new roadmap items that we have coming up. So when we go back over to, and so I should mention as well, I mentioned you can open up a case with MDR directly if you have questions or things you would like them to investigate. This is where you can create that ticket internally. But as far as new coming integrations, so two very big ones that we have coming that we'll be able to share shortly. Like I said, this is tentative, but we will have Fortinet gateways that we'll support, as well as SentinelOne endpoint. Now, the last big one that I want to share, I think really opens the door and will provide a lot of benefit to organizations. So the one that I'm going to be talking about is Microsoft Sentinel. So this will be our first SIM ingestion that we are adding to the platform. And with that, Sentinel supports over 120 plus different integrations at this point. And what I'll share is, so while the MDR service doesn't necessarily have direct integrations, here's a few big ones that I picked up right off the bat that I wanted to share that I think can provide a lot of great information, as well as just integrations that, we may have on the future roadmap, but right now we'll be able to integrate through Azure Sentinel. And that is what I have. Rob, questions back to you?
Yep, absolutely. Well, got one on this slide here. So just to be clear, so we don't integrate directly with these today, but we can if they go through Sentinel?
That's correct. Yes, so we'll be able to ingest events from all these different products as well as anything else supported by Sentinel.
Is that true with other integrators? If they, integrate with something that we do not, that could feed into our MDR, or just
I mean, so I guess that would depend on the integration. As far as I know, what we have. So, okay, for example, I know that Zscaler and CrowdStrike have an integration together. We can't pull in Zscaler events. However, potentially we could leverage the IOC feed within CrowdStrike that could potentially push something to Zscaler, or in this case, through Sentinel, or at least be able to review those logs. So I think we'd have to take each of those integrations on a case-by-case basis, depending on what we have.
Gotcha. Yeah, it depends on your environment, what you already have and right, the capability.
Exactly.
Right.
Yep.
Understood. I think you answered this, but is there a list of current third-party integrators? Is that just right in the portal there, or is there something else that can be provided?
I can certainly provide that as the end of this, and I can put together a document for it.
Okay, that's great. NDR versus MDR. Basically same interface, same list of integrators. Is it just the managed portion that's different, or anything else outstanding?
Do you mean MDR versus XDR?
XDR, sorry.
Yeah, no problem. No, I can cover them both anyway. But yes, so MDR to XDR, absolutely, it is the managed service side of it. And yeah, right now there is some discrepancies between supported applications, but they are very close. They're in the same Infinity portal. But yes, MDR is the managed service piece.
Got it. And you mentioned the MDR team, and then there's a portion with the incident response team. So what does MDR handle, and when would it be passed off onto the IRT team?
So that's great question. So MDR handles the entire event. It gets passed off to the incident response team in the event that there is an incident. Say, like I said, in the example that I gave of a host that has been compromised, maybe the customer isn't feel comfortable with what remediating that host. So maybe they don't know how to do the scan, or they really just need some assistance on it. That's where that gets handed off to the IR team to do a full investigation on that. And then that IR is there strictly for, of those retainer hours, is strictly for response capabilities in these kinds of situations. And that's where it gets passed off.
Got it. And let's see, can people request an integrator if we don't have one today?
Absolutely, yes.
How would they do that? Just go through your account team, or is there?
Yeah, actually, you can work through the account team, and you have a customer success manager with MDR as well. We'll work with your local account team and your customer success manager, to see where we can fit that into the roadmap to integrate. But as long as it has an API capability, then yes, it's certainly something we can integrate with.
All right, fantastic. Take one more look. Any more questions, people? I'll look into Q&A. I think we covered it. Let me look one more place. Nope, and we are good. Well, thank you, Corey and Tyler. Fantastic information. Really appreciate it. And yeah, like Tyler said, this is an ever-expanding product. So not only integrators, but even features, right, Tyler? If there's things you would like to see in this product's roadmap, just reach out to me. Just let us know. Right,
absolutely. And one thing I should add, sorry, Rob, is that this is available if you want to POC the product. That is an option as well. We do offer that as part of the service. So if it's something you're interested in and want to test it out, we can help you there too.
Yeah, and it's easy to set up, right? This isn't a hot.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah. Great. Thank you, guys. Like I said, we'll send a follow-up email with the reference content and the recording link. We will not have a tips and tricks in 2 weeks. It conflicts with our CPX, our Checkpoint Experience User Conference. So our next one will be in 4 weeks on March 21st. I'll send out the invitation for that soon. But I'd be remiss if I didn't do a CPX commercial here. So 2 weeks, we have our user conference in Las Vegas. I expect all of you already know about it, but if you don't, please talk to your account team, reach out to me directly. If you need information, it's a great conference, lots of people to talk to, people like Tyler and Corey. You can really ask them some hard-hitting questions. So please let me know if you need any additional information for that. I'll be happy to forward it over to you. But with that, thanks again, guys. Everyone, thank you for joining us, and we'll see you here next time. Enjoy your day. Bye, all.
Thank you.